the thing about that work is that frequently people have the experience that they're looking at many different people.
Yes.
And they go away, and that's their experience.
Yes.
And of course, that's something that I was interested in.
Yeah.
But I'm not disappointed if people think, oh, this is one person and the complexity of this identity. You know, that is for me the same thing in a way. But it's a self-portrait in such a generic form that it could be you or me. I mean, it's a for instance, you know. So.
Yes, I too thought there were many different people, but it was one person, but many different people.
Yeah, yeah.
And even when I saw it here, I think I still thought the same.
Yeah.
But except it's clearer now to me that it is one person.
Right, right. I think if you know what I look like, that sort of alters the experience. Because when people don't know what I look like, they're not associating it with the author.
Right, right.
You know? My photographs have been so deeply influenced by the experience in sculpture and drawing and writing that it's such a kind of nominal use of photography, you know. Yeah, even I think architecture is very important in my photography. You know,
Yeah.
the installation is extremely important. My niece would come in the studio and start laughing at me.
Laughing.
Because she just thought they were so ridiculous.
Huh.
And I thought they were ridiculous too, because they're so labor intensive, and you have to wonder, are you escaping from something or are you discovering something? And you just have to wonder where the line is on that. With me, I think about that, you know. But doing those drawings, you really have to be in a zone. It's like athletics.
Yeah.
And if you don't get in the zone, then you really can't carry it forward. You know, and sometimes I'm waiting at the door for, months. I can't get in there. It just does, that space just does not, it just doesn't open up for me.
And what helps that space open up?
I think lack of distraction. I think it's the ability to focus my energy.
Is there
my
certain
physical and mental energy in one place at the same time.
To not travel.
Well, not even just not travel, just any kind of psychological distraction or stress or, anything that takes me away from being in the moment. It makes it difficult for me to draw. And also, it's, I think, maybe a kind of, it's an energy where you're comfortable with, you're comfortable with starting from zero, I think it is, in a way. I mean, I know there's a language there now, but in the drawings, but there's no image. There's no like where you want to take it.
Yes.
I don't have a future in those drawings.
Yes.
I'm making it up as I go along. So, very much about being in a very simplified relationship to things and to myself. I think most importantly to myself. So.
Aviksen, I think it calls you the escape artist.
Yeah, I love that, because when you were talking earlier, I was thinking, I'm not this and I'm not that. And I've always preferred not to be anything.
Yeah.
But it isn't, I don't feel like I'm reneging on responsibility or whatever it takes to get something done and connect your identity with it. But I always feel like somebody calls me a photographer or whatever, a painter frequently, although that's not part of my palette. I feel like, there's a misunderstanding here, or I'm masquerading as somebody I'm not. One of the things that's been very funny in my life is I'm frequently mistaken for Rebecca Horn.
Oh no!
So people will tell me that that they love this piece that I just did with the high heels and the piano, and it's such a different persona or identity.
Yeah.
And it's almost like it's almost like scripted for me to have this alter ego out there. Yeah, there was this line that I love about masks. There's something about the mask being, it's a mask, but it's identical to the original.
Right.
You know, to the identity, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I printed these editions of the bird pairs over a period of 10 years or more, and I didn't even know I was doing a series. You know, I did one, and then, you know, I have this archive in my studio. It's really like an inventory of Iceland. You know, I can pull out material because I've been going there for so long and taking pictures, and most of it's crap, but there are a few things in there, and I kept drawn back into this particular photo shoot, which was, it was a total lark, because I went to photograph a minx. They were part one. I wanted to have the animal, the mink animal, in this one piece called Pie. And the mink is like a homicidal maniac. You know, they'll literally fish every salmon out of the river and just stack them in their nest and let it rot. Or they'll just go into eider down fields. You know, the eider with the...
Yes, yes.
And they'll just break the eggs.
Yes.
Of the hatch, in the nest.
Yeah.
You know, so they're an extraordinary character, the minx. When I was looking for the minx, I stumbled on all these other stuffed things in Iceland, and I became very interested in them. And so I was photographing all of these bird models, and, you know, it was just fascinated me to do it, and I had no knowledge of what would come of them. And they sat in the archive for years. When I started pairing them, right, the first was the raven, which is I think it's the first one in the book, the pair of ravens. The interesting thing about ravens is they're very different characters. You know, these are two different models, but they're all completely different personalities.
Yeah.
Raven's a very, very smart bird. I mean, you don't see that kind of individuality in the other bird shots that you have here. They could be the same bird. The anatomy is very, very close. In this case, it is the same model.
Oh, this is?
This is a harlequin duck, yeah. So these pairs got published over the years, you know, and eventually I arrived at this suite of 10 pairs, and I gave it the title Bird, because bird in English is so rich a word. It can be slang for a prostitute. It can be a bird is just a woman, a date, you know. Or it could be, obviously, or a bird, you know, you give somebody the bird, it's a hostile gesture. You know, it has so many meanings, and if you called it birds, it would have nothing. You know, so just that singular bird gives it a complete, and all that content is somehow in there. The gender issue, the identity issue, sexuality issue. Somehow that all seeps into these pieces, even when wasn't a suite. It was just like, you know, something like this, which is intensely sexual, and you know, it's also just simply formal and attractive. You know, this is the same bird as this. There's a younger version of it. You know, the gannet, which is now these are all birds that are native to Iceland. That was the other thing. I was sticking with the island identity very much in this series.
But again, it's pairs. It's
yeah, because you know when you have one, you have one. When you have two, you've got the space between. Plus, you've got difference, and difference is where everything opens up, I think.
like a.k.a.
Yeah, you could have a fictitious difference. It's as good as a real one. Don't you think? Because that's when you get your weird psychotic behavior.
Yes, the fictitious difference.
Yeah.